know how to go from here. Okay, so we're simplifying this. We're trying to make it basically one term, no fractions would be ideal. So let's just go for it. This one's the hardest one. So we're going to start out with the hardest one. Is that okay? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this. I know this is really 1 minus secant squared. I know that that's 1 over what? Cosine, right? So 1 minus cosine squared theta. Does everybody understand why this is equal to this? Now I say to myself, I'm trying to simplify it. We want it to be one term. So we need to bring this together. So we get a common denominator, right? 1 over 1. So when we multiply by cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Okay? So we have 1 times cosine squared theta, which is cosine squared theta, then minus 1, right? All over cosine squared theta. Is this making sense so far? So then I say to myself, what is cosine squared theta minus 1 equal to? Okay, so keep in mind, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. So couldn't we get cosine, or let's see, couldn't we do 1 cosine minus 1? Couldn't we subtract 1 over this way? So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I have sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, do you see how we have cosine squared theta minus 1? We need to get that equal to something. We need that to be alone, so let's subtract sine squared theta from both sides. I can't fit that. Do you get what I'm doing? I'm trying to figure out what this is equal to. So I'm subtracting sine squared theta from both sides. So now over on this side, we have cosine squared theta minus 1 is actually equal to negative sine squared theta. So you see how I took this problem and I said, I know that that's, whenever I see like a sine squared theta minus 1 or anything like that, I know I'm going to be using this. Okay, so do you see how we know that this is equal to negative sine squared theta? So we'll replace that. We have negative sine squared theta over cosine squared theta, and we're almost done. Last step. What's sine over cosine? Tangent. So our answer is negative tangent squared theta. There's no fractions, it's one term. So it took a little bit of thought, it took a little bit of manipulation, and you get better with that as you go. Like, I know I'm really just good at seeing things like, oh, I know that cosine squared theta minus 1 is going to probably be used, I'm going to be using this most likely. You'll get better as you go. Okay, let's do another one. That was the hardest one. Number 20. Here we go. Number 20 on the worksheet. So this one's not too bad. So it says simplify the trig, and there's like 20 different ways you can simplify this. Like, I started doing one back there, and it took us a whole page, and I'm like, I just got so far into it, I didn't want to stop and start over. But when I was in calculus, a lot of times I'd be like, okay, let's try something else. Like, let's not simplify this way. It's just taking too much to get it down. Let's try something else. Okay, so secant squared, that's the thing, there's not just one right way to do it. That's what's hard for you to teach this to students, because there's a lot of different ways. So we have secant of theta. What is secant? So we have 1 over cosine theta on top of the fraction, right? Divided by tangent. What is tangent? Sine of theta over cosine theta. This is actually pretty easy. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. We flip the second fraction and we multiply. So we're going to multiply by cosine of theta over sine of theta, right? So that one was easy. The cosines divide out to be 1. So our answer is 1 over sine of theta, which what is that equal to? Cosecant theta, right? So that's simplified to be that. The reason I chose to not stay with 1 over sine of theta is because it's equal to cosecant theta. That's no fractions. It's just one term. Simplified all the way down. So that wasn't too bad, was it? Okay, another one. Number 21. Okay, 21. Cosecant theta, tangent theta. So let's go for it. Cosecant is 1 over sine of theta, right? Times tangent, which is sine of theta over cosine of theta. Now can't you see what this is going to simplify to be pretty easily?
Yeah.
Sines divide out to be 1s. So we have 1 over cosine of theta, which is equal to secant theta. Then it'd be easy to integrate that versus that, which you don't know what integrate means, but you will when you take calculus. Questions? Okay. So if anything, this is just preparing your algebra skills, like preparing seeing if you can think critically, manipulate things, and try things. That's really what this is testing. Okay, number 22. Secant theta, cosine squared theta. All right, I don't see where this is going right now, but let's just start going with it. Secant theta is 1 over, oh yeah, I do. This one's easy. 1 over cosine of theta, right? A lot of times I won't see where it's going until I start rewriting things. And then we have times cosine squared theta. So don't we multiply straight across? So we have cosine of theta, cosine squared theta over cosine of theta. So isn't that just cosine theta? Isn't cosine squared theta, cosine theta, cosine theta? All over cosine theta. Thus, our answer is cosine theta. Sweet. Okay. Next one. And that's the last one I'm going to do with you. This one takes a little bit of thought. And then the rest will just be yours to practice. Give yourself more credit. You're definitely capable of doing this. Simplify the trigonometric expression. So we have cosecant squared theta, which we know is 1 over sine squared theta. Minus cotangent is 1 over tangent of theta. Now keep in mind, this is, I'm going to just go off. This is equal to, just this 1 over tangent theta is 1 over sine of theta over cosine of theta, right? Dividing fractions is as easy as pie. You put the second fraction and multiply. So isn't this actually cosine theta over sine of theta? Guys, right? You get it? So it was squared. Sorry, squared. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. 1 over sine squared theta minus, I have that simplified to be cosine squared theta over sine squared theta. So a lot of people start to just memorize. I know cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. You get what I'm saying? Cosine over sine, where tangent is sine over cosine. Now, we want simplified to mean one term here. Don't we already have a common denominator? So can we put it together? So we have 1 minus cosine squared theta all over sine squared theta. And then once again, I see a 1 and I see a cosine. If I see a 1 and a cosine or a 1 and a sine with a subtraction sign, I know I'm probably using the fact that sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. So let's get it to look like this. 1 minus cosine theta. 1 minus cosine squared theta. Sorry. Did I say just cosine theta? Anyways, it's cosine squared. So do you see how we could get it to be 1 minus cosine squared? This, when we just subtract cosine squared. Right? Isn't that what you do to get this to be 1 minus cosine squared theta? So we minus cosine squared theta from both sides. I can't fit that. So we know that sine squared theta is also equal to 1 minus cosine squared theta. So on top, what do we have? Sine squared theta, right? Are we seeing it or not? I'm not sure. So we have sine squared theta on top. On bottom, we have sine squared theta. So what is the simplified answer? 1. So we wouldn't have known that without going through and simplifying this all the way down. Can you believe that is actually 1? You know? Okay. So practice. Give yourself more credit. It just takes a little bit of practice. Try it. 24 through 34.